Hello there, and welcome to the 5th episode of Klasdik's Retold, where we're about to tell you a modern version of the tale of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. We're calling it Goldilocks, the girl who invaded three bears. Goldilocks was a girl who lived with her parents who loved her pieces and knew she could be naughty whenever she went out. On this day in particular, she was planning to go for a walk in the woods. Her mother didn't like the idea of her walking through the woods alone and made her promise she wouldn't. Her father then chipped in to make sure she kept her promise by warning her of the wild animals that lived in the woods, especially the bears. After swearing that she wouldn't go through the woods, she was allowed to go out for her walk. She walked into town to keep herself busy, making sure she had money to buy food if she needed it. While she was looking around the shops, she walked into her best friend Red Riding Hood, who was out shopping for her grandmother who was ill in bed. After a fun trip to town, Goldilocks caught the bus back. The bus stopped by the woods and kicked her off for disrupting the peace of the passengers. Now she was forced to take a shortcut through the woods to get home quicker. So she began to walk through the woods, despite her promise to her parents not to go in there. As she walked through on her way home, she met several friendly creatures. A little way through, she saw a quiet little cottage. Curious, she went and peered through the window to find it empty. She thought for a moment and had an idea, a very naughty idea. She tried the front door, only to discover it was unlocked, so she opened it and went inside. She was hungry after all that traveling when she spotted 3 bowls of porridge on the table. She tried the first bowl, but it was too hot. She tried the second bowl, but it was too cold. She tried the third bowl, and it was just right, so she ate it all up. She needed to rest after all that porridge, so she went to the living room to find 3 chairs. The big chair was too hard, the middle-sized chair was too soft, and the small chair was just right, so she sat on it, but it broke under her weight, so she landed on the floor. Naughty Goldilocks. Not only had she broken a promise to her parents, but she'd also broken and entered into a strange house she had found in the woods. She went upstairs and into the bedroom to find 3 beds. The big bed was too hard, the middle-sized bed was too soft. The little bed was just right, so she climbed in and fell asleep. Downstairs, the owners of the house returned from their walk. They were 3 bears. They noticed that someone had been eating their breakfast. "Who's been eating my porridge?" boomed Daddy Bear. "Who's been eating my porridge?" asked Mummy Bear. "Who's been eating my porridge?" cried Baby Bear, upon noticing his empty bowl. They went to sit down and noticed that someone had been sitting on their chairs. "Who's been sitting on my chair?" boomed Daddy Bear. "Who's been sitting on my chair?" asked Mummy Bear. "Who's been sitting on my chair?" cried Baby Bear, noticing his chair was broken to pieces. "That chair was an antique," raged Daddy Bear. They went up to their bedroom only to find someone had been sleeping in their beds. Baby Bear caught their home invader sleeping in his bed, so they stood around the bed. When Goldilocks woke up, she got such a shock to find 3 angry bears standing around her.
She tried to jump up and run, but Daddy Bear stopped her. "Who are you?" he demanded. "And what on earth are you doing in our house?" Daddy Bear demanded.
Goldilocks went silent at these words. "Perhaps you'd like to explain your behavior to the police," boomed Daddy Bear, and he called the police. The police arrived, the bears gave their report, and Goldilocks was arrested for breaking, entering, theft, and squatting in a house that didn't belong to her. She was now in jail for her law-breaking behavior and facing 5 years in prison for her crimes. She was tried, convicted, and sentenced to 5 years in prison for her crimes. 5 years later, she was released from prison and made a formal apology to the 3 bears, who forgave her, and they all became friends.